All right, but let's move on to the biggest and probably shocking moment of
Sammy, Sammy.
the night at the Royal Rumble. The
Whew.
Bloodline in shambles. Family fractured. Honorary Uce no more. Of course, we had Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed Universal title, and one hell of a match. Of course, I thought these two coming in, I knew, especially from their last encounter 2 years ago at the Rumble, that Kevin Owens was going to get his ass whooped. And Kevin Owens was going to look like a badass getting his ass whooped, which he did, and kudos to him. Uh, Getting through all the spears, the punishment, actually getting some licks in. But the head bashing on the stairs, I was like, holy cow. You
So
know, for
foul.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
like that to happen multiple times, I'm like, holy.
Kevin always knows how to sell, bro. That man.
No, Kevin. No,
Take
Kevin
him.
Owens.
Take
Kevin
him.
Owens is that guy. He's a
Well,
great. He's a ultimate storyteller.
Bro, he has some high pain tolerance because this man will like jump off whatever, gets hit by a fucking golf cart, and like you're like, Jesus Christ.
Bumps like that. But like, wow.
Yeah, he takes like the bumps like nobody else. Like the steps the steps angle, I was like, holy shit, is that even allowed? Like, is this off script? Like, like is he supposed to do that? Like,
he did it twice, and you're like, yo, is he actually hitting? But like you can kind of see those, but you're like, yo, that's really close. Like that's a thin
I
line
don't know
right
how
there.
you sell that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, yo, damn.
But to see him take that ass whooping like we knew he would, to see Roman Reigns be as badass as he would, I think Roman has been one of the best in the ring. Of course, during this run, his matches are usually kind of the same, but it's like he's so impactful and such an asshole and such a badass that it's like I'm okay with it as long as he's getting over and looking good in those matches. I'm fine with it. But of course, the moment of truth, Kevin Owens is getting his ass whooped by the Bloodline, and finally, Sami Zayn steps in and tries to stop Roman Reigns and ends up turning his back on the Bloodline, right? Like, like that moment. What do you guys make of that? Like that all coming together, like awesome.
Oh my god. Like I said in the chat, like, pure soap opera. I mean, that's what that was. In the days that have followed, because SmackDown is tomorrow night, in the days that have followed, I haven't seen anybody actually talking about the actual match, because it was actually a good match.
Yeah,
Nobody gives a damn about the match. They don't even give a damn about the match because they've just been showing the whole story, not even caring about what happened in the match. But yeah, man, well, it was just pure soap opera. I mean, with Sami, and the thing about it is, initially when Solo, did his move in the corner when Kevin Owens had the chair around his neck, I'm thinking, okay, that's it. I'm like, yo, y'all done enough. Then when they handcuffed him to the ropes, I'm like, okay, so you guys are really forcing it now. Like, I'm like, yo, y'all need to chill. Y'all really trying to kill this guy. And then when Sami hit Roman with the chair, the crowd, oh my god, probably one of the biggest pops. And they knew it was coming too.
Yeah, they had the crowd in the middle of his hand.
Yeah, they knew it was coming. It's just
like
boom.
Kevin Owens again getting his ass kicked like that after the match, right? Like I haven't seen a beatdown like that since, like, I can't even remember a beatdown happening like that in the ring after a match. Like bad guys beating the holy hell out of a good guy like that to that extent. I'm like, holy shit.
I feel like Randy's done that a few times. I can't remember.
Yeah. Like
he's done it to a couple like guys. You're
like we've seen it in the past, but it's like it's been so long since we've had something that brutal where it looked like, oh my god, this guy is legitimately going to the hospital. Like, where's the stretcher? Where's the ambulance? Like, where's all the stuff happening? But Lewis, you can talk about it. Like, I love it.
My guy Sammy's too good, bro. Sammy's too good, bro. But the crazy thing is, okay, when they're beating the hell out of Kevin Owens, and then when they finally handcuffed him, I honestly thought he was still gonna go through with it. That's how good he was playing his role at and then when Roman starts smacking him, he's like, "We're your family, we're your brothers now. Forget about him." Blah, blah. I really thought he was actually gonna like do the hit and walk off.
Yeah,
And when he hit Roman, I was like, in my mind, before he even swung, I was like, he wouldn't hit Roman because he's gonna get his ass beat by everybody right there. And he did it, and I was like, okay, this is the end. I'm like, this is the end. And with Jey playing the role also perfectly as well, because mind you, the one who never wanted him in the group, the one who didn't trust him, the one who was like, yo, he's not family, to them being like, you know, saying everything he said before. He's like, I love this man, like, that's my brother. And then, bro, like, I'm tugging at this man's heart too much right now. I
thought it was awesome because Jey was like, and especially when you think about all the history, and especially with Jey walking out, he was the first person against Roman, right? Like when Roman came back, he was the first person.
Those clips. I kept seeing all of his promos where he's like, I hate you for doing this to us, doing this to our family. Like,
so we see all of that happening, that transpiring, Jimmy coming back, basically convincing them to, hey, join him, doing all of that, to now seeing him walk out against his family. It's like, where do they go with this? Because Usos are tag team champions. Jimmy laid the kick to Sami, right? Like, he was the first person to hit Sami. And it's like, holy shit. Like, where are we going with this? Like,
well, I did read somewhere that I guess the whole, when this storyline started, the whole point was for this to end at Elimination Chamber, which is in Montreal, Sami's hometown. You know, he's gonna get his music back. You know, he's gonna get that. He's gonna get that Heroes Vote.
I hope he gets his OG music back.
Yeah. Hopefully, because it's like, so the Canada boys coming home, right? Like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn coming home. So we're gonna see how that plays out. We know Sami's not at Mania, right? Like he's not gonna be at Mania most likely. And now where does this? Yeah, like this is crazy.
It's like 2 nights. It's 2 nights. Remember that.
It's like, where does this tag team match go, right? Like the Usos eventually have to lose the straps, right? Or something has to happen. There has to be an ending there, right? With these tag team titles, because Jey and Jimmy are basically on opposite sides, right? How does that play out? Like, that's the main thing. I'm like, of course, maybe we're going to see Sami and Kevin Owens team up now, right? They both got their ass kicked. Like, put in the ground by the Bloodline, right?
Yeah. So, I think eventually Jey is just going to come back around and probably be even more vengeful for what Sami did. I just don't see like Jey separated from the Bloodline. At least not right now.
He sent out that tweet. He said, "Blood out."
I don't know because it's like I think the Usos have proven enough that they could be single stars. Like they could go on their own paths. Like they could, like especially Jey has been able to carry a main event, like a main event match, right? Like he's been in that moment, right? So I think there's Jimmy. And Jimmy could have that. Honestly, maybe Sokola's still with him as the tag champs or whatever the case may be. Is there potential that they kick Jey out? Jey out. Like, is that the potential? Like, they turn on him for not going after Sami and stuff like that. So there's still a lot of the Bloodline story to be told. And I just don't know which way it's going to go because that chair shot, Seth hitting Roman when the Shield broke up. It's like, holy shit. Like, Roman keeps getting hit with chairs. Like, he should leave him alone, right? Leave them shits alone.
But you just made a good point. They could do, and I mean, I don't know how much sense it would make, but like, okay, let's say Jay's out. You could do Solo and Jimmy, fight for the titles, and then it's Sami and Kevin, and then Jey helps them out, and that's how they get the titles, But my thing is I still need, I don't know. I think I just want them to split up the titles on Roman so bad, and that there's still hope for me that somehow they could play it where Elimination Chamber comes, he becomes number one contender for the SmackDown title or whatever, and then you get, but obviously the tag titles makes more sense. I'm just being selfish and I want him to win the tag.
It's funny because it's like, and this can set up a lot of pathways. I'm just thinking in my head here, like this could be a Jey versus Jimmy at Mania, right? Like with Sokola and Jimmy's corner, ultimate feud family, right? Like crazy.
Yeah,
like that's a possibility that happen. But again, like this is crazy. Like it's crazy.
I think
like
that would be actually a good selling point because you would have Roman, Cody, those two families, and then you got internal family turmoil.
Yep.
Would be fucking like you show all the history that Jimmy and Jay have gone through. Like that would be fucking nuts. But you could also save that for later on for like SummerSlam.
Yeah, you can do that too. There's so many pathways they can go with this.
The Solo gets his own run or whatever, you know.
That's what happens when you have a good story. Then you can go in any you can go in any direction. There's no good story in wrestling right now that's as good as this one. I can't think of it.
No, like for a long time. Like probably CM Punk leaving WWE. That whole storyline with Money in the Bank. Like I can't. Like that's like a decade ago.
Decade some change, yeah.
So to see something this impactful, to have the world again, kind of like the wrestling world, kind of like I don't even think of AEW. I'm not even thinking of anything else outside of this. Like, of course, we like women's wrestling and stuff like that. But this storyline with the Bloodline, like, even when Cody gave his speech on Raw, I'm like, wow, we still don't even know what's happening with the Bloodline, right? Like, they were off of Raw. You know what I mean? And I'm still thinking they're like, we still got some business to finish here. Like, how does Cody play into that? You know, like, are they going to try to keep him away from this until Mania, like until they lead up until Mania, or are they going? Obviously, he's feuding right now with the Judgment Day. We saw on Raw with that happening, but it's like at some point he has to get involved, right? Like, in terms of like the numbers game, right? Like Sami and Kevin Owens kind of have to be on Cody Rhodes' side here with this, right? So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting to see how that intertwines and that goes together. But yeah, the Bloodline, I can't think of it. Like, this is crazy. This is a great storyline. So many multiple ways to go with the history, of course, with the Cody Rhodes family, Roman's family, the Usos potentially breaking up, potentially splitting. How does Solo Sikoa as the muscle in the group fit into this? Sami and KO reuniting potentially. How does that gonna go? Yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy, man. Like they literally have the wrestling. Yeah, they literally have the wrestling world in the palm of their hands, and I can't wait.
Bray Wyatt needs to come in and shatter it.
Like I've talked about that, right? Like Bray Wyatt has to be some type of like asshole in this, right? Like even to Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn, I talked about that. Like if Sami Zayn was somehow able to get into a Mania match, Bray Wyatt would be the ultimate heel ever. You know what I mean? To just
everything
like,
up.
I'm gonna end your dream or whatever the case may be, just to be that asshole like that. WWE, please don't do that. I want Sami to win. If he was going to be in that position, we need him to win as the ultimate underdog, as a guy that could actually carry that. Like that would be awesome.
Definitely.
The Bloodline, man. The Bloodline basically carrying WWE right now, and for good measure. Like I love this storyline. I love all the different directions it's going. Yeah, I can't say enough about it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what happens Friday.
Friday. Oh man,
that's a SmackDown I'm watching.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the weird times where I'm actually going to watch SmackDown live.
Not recorded. We're just going to check it out. Yes. I got to see what happens with this, man. But that will do it for episode 2 of Ring Takes. Thank you guys for joining me, of course, as always.
Anytime.
Yep.
And we'll check back in with you guys next week, and we'll see what the breakdown of the Bloodline is after Raw, after SmackDown, after Raw. And we'll check you guys next week. Thanks, guys.
Cool.